All right, in this video, I'm going to show you guys how to make an AI generated children's book that you will make barely any money on because the margins are so small, but you only find that out at the end, and I'll share that at the end. If you go to the video, or you can jump to the end and see how little you make. So how do you do an AI generated children's book? You just need a few tools, which I'm going to share with you guys now. So let me share my screen. I want to share the whole window. Okay, so first thing you can do is have an idea, right? You can even ask ChatGPT for the idea. I did it based off of Jesus in Revelations with an army of 144,000 kids for the second coming. So gave it a high level prompt, write me a children's book on Jesus Christ superpowers. Jesus come back and raise an army of 144,000 kids to help them fight injustice and the powers that be. And then you can see pretty quickly it'll generate different chapters. Then I kind of iterated on it and said, all right, this is a children's book that has pictures and illustrations, or illustrations and then captions to those pictures. So then if you do that breakdown, it'll tell you the text that you're going to have on each one and the illustration itself. So you can, for if you're doing a hardback cover in KDP, you have to have a minimum of 76 pages. If you take into account the title page, acknowledgments, dedication, so on and so forth, you need about 35 pages of text and illustrations. Now, if you put the text on the images, now you need more. So mine actually had on the left side the picture, on the right side the text associated picture. I also got feedback saying, hey, you should make it rhyme. So I had to go back, and after I generated it, I went and said, all right, now give me the rhyme to it. So I had to go back and modify it. So if you need to start with the end in mind, like know what you want to create at the end before you start doing it. Because me just kind of walking through it randomly, I had to go and do a lot of editing, going back and fixing things. So once you do have your content, meaning the text that you want to put on each page, and then like the storyline that you have going on, as well as the images, and I'll show you how to make the images. So here we have Leonardo.ai, where you can sign up for this thing. You won't be able to get away with the free tier because you won't have enough credits. So you have to pay. It's going to cost you like $12 to $15 for the month, and you get those credits renewed every month. And then in here, if I go to, if you're in here, you can go to all AI image generation, and then make sure you have the highest resolution set. This is going to be in a square 1024 pixels by 1024 pixels. One thing that helped when I was really struggling to make images like the right way was to go find a similar image, and then in here you can upload that image, and then it will use that as your it'll make it very similar to that picture. So that was one thing that helped when I was doing like more, when I was really struggling with getting the image right. So you'll see, so here's a father and daughter as superheroes, comic book style. You can see the arms are all jacked up. This guy has two big ass, he has a fist growing out of his fist, right? He's got another kid here, even though I only asked for one. Even the background's kind of weird. Like, what is this right here? I don't know. The foot's all messed up. So you get like weird images, right? So one thing that so it takes about 40 hours to 60 hours to make the whole book if you're doing the bare minimum. Like if you're doing longer, it's going to take you longer. So I had to go through and generate an image for each page. And what I was doing was I was generating it, waiting the 25 seconds to 35 seconds for it to go and say to me, here's the image. And then I just kept editing. And that was like, a minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, more and more, like just to see if I can tweak the prompt to get to what I was envisioning for the actual text that's associated with the page. So what I discovered was that I'm doing it like an idiot, doing it in a parallel or a sequential process. What you can do is just fire off multiple tabs. So you go and just hit up all, open a bunch of tabs, maybe do 10 at a time, where you do the actual prompt. And here are the comic book styles. That's why it looks more comic booky. Do it all in parallel, run them all at once, right? And then come back to them and start tweaking them. Then you're not sitting there twiddling your thumbs in between each image generation. So that'll actually, my 40 hours might have been cut down to 20 hours because a lot of it was waiting and then seeing what would happen. So let's say you've gone and created all the images. They're not perfect. They're all going to have problems. Here's one that has the hands are all messed up. There's limbs, shoes everywhere. So you have to go and edit these things. And so to edit them, there's this really cool feature in Adobe Photoshop that came out recently. So you can go and get Photoshop. The beta is what has the cool generation AI capability. So let me show you a picture that's jacked up. In fact, we'll just kind of take this one, download it. We'll go back to Photoshop, go over here, open. I will open up that picture that has all the people holding hands. So here you pick the selection tool. And if you know this tool, you can do like 90% of Photoshop stuff. You really don't need a lot of this other stuff if you can just use the AI. So I can go in here and say, and you'll see it's not perfect either. You have to do a lot of iteration to get it working as well. So I can say fix hands. So each time you do this, it's going to take up to 20 seconds to actually fix the designated region. I'm not even showing the right video. Hold on a second. Let me show you. Yeah, present, share screen, window. Okay. So now the hands are looking better. Let me show that again. So here you have like 3 hands mixed into each other, which might make sense. This person, this person, this person, but still that's kind of jacked up. So I can go and do, well, let's just see what happens if I just say fix. And you don't see there's a toolbar that's showing up, but the screen share is not sharing it. So I'm just typing in fix, hitting generate, and now it's going to take 10 to 15 seconds to modify it. So you can go in here, you can pretty much prompt it, which, oh great, it gave a boxing glove. And then you can actually go through different things the AI did. Mickey Mouse gloves. So I can say like fix hands. So then it'll be more, let me try that. Fix hands. Maybe this will give a better demo here. But you can get the idea. You have to iterate on this also, right? So the hands are just, wrong colored from the other ones. So this takes time, right? This is what my 40 to 60 hours were going through each image, going there, trying to modify, fix all the things that are wrong with it. It's really good at removing stuff. So there's a shoe at this bottom here that I can say remove. So if you want to remove stuff, that's pretty simple. And it's pretty good at like getting rid of the object and then blending it out with the background. So let's see here. So you see that shoe just disappeared?
Yeah.
Right. So it's pretty good at that. So once you have all the images, you have your text associated with the image. I use Google Docs. Let me stop sharing my screen and present. Share the window. So this is the entire book. It's 76 pages long, which is the minimum. I have my title page. So this is actually a template that if you go to the KDP website, where it's Kindle Direct Publishing, they're going to go and do the printing for you. They're going to do the shipping for you. Essentially, you're just giving the content, and they take care of the rest, which is awesome, right? Like, I don't want to buy merchandise. I don't want to buy stock and then have to ship the stuff, right? Let Amazon deal with it. Problem is that you'll see like it comes at a cost, right? If you're pushing all that work to them, Amazon's making the bulk of the profit. So let me show you what the KDP looks like. So you have hardcover details, gave it the book title, the subtitle. It's not a series, not an edition, gave my name. There's no contributors. This description was AI generated. I just went to ChatGPT. The same window that I was in for here, somewhere along the line, it said, hey, give me the description, right? Summarize the book as a product description on Amazon so customers can learn more about the book. So I just copy pasted that. Pretty easy. Anything with text is pretty easy. I own the copyright. You can make it also public if you want. There's no adult content. Amazon.com is the primary place I'm selling it. The categories, I had religious Christianity books in general and Jesus. And then for the keywords, you can just go to ChatGPT and you'll see it has to give me 7 keywords to describe this book. So that's, once again, you don't have to do anything. So you can save and continue, or go on to the, didn't save anything, so I'll just go on to the hardcover content. You can get a free KDP ISBN. It's like your serial number for your book. So I got that. And then you can go online. You're gonna need a barcode. So you can go online, do a barcode generator where you take this ISBN number and generate that barcode. And I'll show that later in the cover that I created. Publication date. So here I was doing a children's book. So I wanted to have premium color interior with white paper. My size is 5.5 and by 8.5 inches. No bleed, glossy paper. And then here's where you can get the template. So you think you fill out. So in here I went and just said, I got the one with the sample content because it tells you where the title page is, where all the sections are. And you just delete that and then put your own content in there. One thing I was worried about was getting the right pages, that my thing would be on the pictures would be on the left side and my text would be on the right side. They do have a really cool preview that I'll show you that you can verify that the book is going to be looking like how you expect it. So moving on, here's where I actually, once I had the document done, I just exported it from Google Docs, uploaded it here. It does a bunch of checks and then tells you like, oh, you don't have enough pages or whatever. So you do get some errors here. Then you can go and upload your cover. They have a template. So I got the template. For my book, it's left to right. I started thinking how you turn the page was, yeah. So this here, if you go to the template, you get the option for, you just fill this out and then you can download the template. And it gives it to you in I think it was a PDF. I don't remember. But you can convert that PDF to PNG or whatever type. So then this whole cover, I think I messed it up because you can see that I have like this pink. I don't think I got all the borders right because the instructions were unclear. I just didn't read them right. But what ended up, let me see if I can share my screen again. What do I have? So here I generated an image. So the picture on the left is one from the book, but the picture is too small. So I used generative AI where I highlighted the rest and said fill in the rest, and it started filling in the rocks, right? So everything below where my mouse is here is generated by AI using Photoshop, right? And then in Photoshop, I just overlaid this text. And this is that barcode that I was telling you about that I generated online that I put in here also. So you do need some Photoshop skills if you're trying to make the cover and stuff. On the right side, I took an image from Leonardo.ai, fixed it because I had a bunch of problems with it. Took an image from the book itself at the bottom with Jesus. And then the in-between part, I just said, I highlighted with the generated AI and I said blend it in. And then it added this like bar, and I thought that looks good. So then I put the text on top of it, Jesus Christ Superpowers, Army of the Righteous, by Dr. Navat Chauhan. Doing this text that was horizontal but vertically down took a while. I had to go and find a video on how to do that. Essentially, you can do the text tool from left to right. So you do horizontal, and then you hold Command T, and then you have the ability to grab it and rotate it. So that's how I got that text. That took me longer than I meant to say. So that's how I did the cover there. Once you have that, you can launch this previewer. And this thing analyzes the whole book, right? And when I first started the book, I just made the images as big as possible to take as much space. Don't do that because you're going to get a warning for each page where you bleed over. So I had to go into each and every image in my book and then modify it so it fit within the margin that it expects. So be careful about that. Otherwise, you might end up spending a lot of time redoing the pages again, right, with the margins and whatnot. So here you can see thumbnail view, which is super helpful. I could see that. So some stuff that I noticed that I just kind of gave up was getting each image at the right length. Like this one's a little lower than this one, so on and so forth, but I just gave up. I was like, just the formatting was just a big pain in the ass. It takes a lot of time to format these books. There's no AI tool that I know of that's just going to spit this out into this template and then make it happen. So when I first saw the video on, it was a TikTok or YouTube, and I was like, make easy money, make a children's book. It's only going to take 2 hours. And then I started doing it. I'm like, you fucking liars. They themselves are not doing it. They're just saying it took 2 hours. The formatting is a big pain in the ass. So did this whole book, dedication page at the end. I had approved it. The other cool thing that they let you do is you can buy a pre-published version. So I bought one copy that's getting delivered to me. So when I get that, I'll share with you guys. I think the cover will be messed up because I showed you like the pink that I didn't like cover fully. So I need to like fix that, and then I'll actually publish it to the actual market. All right, so super excited. Did the whole thing. I was like, all right, I'm gonna hit that print money button, right? So they first tell you that the printing costs. Now, mind you, I have a hardback. It's color, premium. It's going to be expensive. $10.59 per book, just to make it. Okay. So I was like, all right. Well, if I sell it for $15, that was my original idea. Was $14.95. And I'll make $4 or $5 per book. And then when you get to the actual pricing, the minimum, you can't sell cheaper than $14.65. Okay. And so I said, okay, I'll do $19.95. Now it's already a really expensive book for a children's book. So I don't even think people are going to buy this thing now because it's so expensive. So the printing is $10.95. Their rate is 60%. This is like double what Amazon or Apple charges for their app store, right? And then my royalty is $1.38 per print. Okay.
Wow.
Now I'm gonna go buy a sandwich when some people.
You're gonna be rich.
I'm gonna be printing money like left and right because all the people that teach how to do this online are like, you're gonna be making all this money. What they just tell you like the sum money that's being generated per book based off the reviews. They don't actually go into the detail about like each book that you print, you're gonna make $1.38 per copy. Now I can go and do the paperback version. I can maybe do the Kindle version. Maybe the margins, they're probably still taking 60%. And my royalty might be double, triple, quadruple, but I have to sell a lot to make this book, fund me, right? So when I saw this, and I was just like, oh my gosh, I spent 40, 60 hours making this book, and I'm barely going to make any money. So lesson learned: the people that teach this stuff on the internet, if they're probably doing it also, but it's more for fun than it is for making money. So I did get like some awesome Photoshop skills, like I can modify pictures, and I have Leonardo and I can make pictures, which is cool. And it's been a while since I've been published. I did 12 publications in my PhD. I haven't been published since, so I'll have my children's book as my 13th publication, lucky number 13. And then at the bottom here, you can also request proof. So that's where you can order your book. You sign up, you say you can get 1 to 5 copies. You pay the $10, whatever, 50 something cents per copy plus shipping. So I just bought one, waiting for that to come. And then at the end, you can just publish your hardcover book when you're ready to go. So any questions?
Nah, yeah, man, it's the process is pretty dope. Just you don't make any money.
It's super
off
streamlined.
Yeah.
Except for the editing, image generation, that sort of stuff. But imagine like the people in before they had AI, they had to do you had to pay an illustrator. They actually had to write the book. Now the AI is doing a fantastic job. Even the AI, you have to go back and like some of the rhymes didn't make sense, or
Yeah.
so you do have to like edit. You have to be the editor of the AI, but you can always go back to the AI and like say, try it again. Okay, simplify it, because I was using complicated words, and I was like, oh, a 6-year-old's not going to get that. So instead of using the word system, because maybe a kid doesn't understand what the word system means, give me a different word. And so I was able to do that, and then make it rhyme. So time to actually do this. So I'm saying, imagine you put in all this work. You didn't have AI. You did illustrations yourself. You did the text yourself. And then you get to this point where it's like you get $1.38 per copy, and you're like, damn, I just spent like many months making this book and I barely get any money out of it. Amazon's getting rich.
Is Amazon the only one that provides this kind of service? Or...
This is the one that everybody touts about. I think this is probably the most streamlined one. There might be a few else out there, but once again, my stuff is, the templates are Amazon. Like the images I generated where like the covers, those are for Amazon for their size book. So it might carry over somewhere else. I'd have to look, but at this point, I'm like, there's no money, there's no real money. There's some bucks, and you can get a sandwich, but they're not going to be able to live off of it. And so if you point this out to people, if you point this out to people that are preaching this, and you're like, well, tell me the profit margin, they're like, but look at the total revenue. Total revenue is huge. $200,000 for this book. You're making money left and right. It's like, no, Amazon's making money left and right. You are a published author. Hopefully whatever content in your book brought joy to kids. Be happy that happened. Don't be going around telling like people are gonna make money left and right doing these books. AI generated books. God help you if you're not using AI.
Yeah, I guess like if you want to do it, you should like try to make it, I don't know, black and white, so that it's probably cheaper to print, things like
black
that.
And white, the cheap
to
paper.
Save some.
Yeah, paperback. Well, you can just do. I think you can go right to Kindle, so there's no printing cost. But Amazon's still going to take 60%, which I'm like, wow. Yeah. I didn't know it was 60% until I did everything. I was like, all right, I'm like pretty much ready to publish here. I'll just order the proof and then move on with my life, and then wait till the checks keep coming in, right? And so, yeah. So I recommend, unless you just want to be a published author, don't go into doing books on Amazon. Do it for the passion. Don't do it for the money. For me to make this a sustainable book to fund my lifestyle, I would have to sell hundreds of thousands of books.
True. The book's solid. I like the when you added the rhymes.
So I'll share the book. Let me link everybody that is interested in this. You can see, and I got some great. Oh, is that the right link? Does that link work for you guys? There, sharing.
Yeah, that works.
Okay. Yeah. So it was fun, but I went into it with false pretenses. Is the only thing that sucks. And I got maybe some kids will read it and be like, "This Jesus guy, he's pretty cool. Maybe I should help people." And
Yeah.
if that happens, that in itself pays for everything, my 40, 60 hours. Then you also do pick up some Photoshop skills. You use Photoshop for doing the editing, which I think will come in handy in the long run. But you're looking at 40, 60 hours put into it. You're looking at about 30 to 40 bucks spent on the tools that you need to do it. And there's probably some free versions of the tools out there. So, all right, that's the end of this section about children's books and KDI. KDP. Let's do stand up. Ralph.
Cool. I'm still working on getting food out to homeless kids. So I figured out the main meals. It's gonna be cupcakes and all organic cupcakes and Chick-fil-A style nuggets, all organic. And so it looks like I'm gonna go to the group of kids, find the same group of kids. It's probably not gonna be the same kids, but I'll go to the same spot, this family shelter. Just have a bunch of kids come outside and let them eat between meal times, because where it is that they get hungry in between meal times. So that's good. I'm reaching out to some people who, and I wanted to ask you this, Raj, too. So somebody I know works with children at schools, and there's kids that stay after school, and since COVID, there are some schools that do the after school programs but don't feed the kids anymore, or the
Mhm.
meals are a lot different, less. They're just like crackers and peanut butter and stuff now. So I was thinking of kind of doing something with a school that has an after school program and donating the meals the same way, all organic, fun, fast food for kids that are, hungry after school, waiting for their parents to get off.
Yeah,
So
that's great.
yeah, yeah. So I'm still in contact with some people. I'm not waiting on them anymore. I'm still gonna keep those lines open uh, to kind of do something bigger, for content, because we wanna get the
Yeah.
word out there.
Our goal should be like one video, at least one feeding per week.
Yeah, we can
Today
do
I'm gonna
that.
feed. I was walking to the gym, and then this lady recognized me because I bought her like a burrito a week ago, and then she's like, "Can you help this guy out?" So I have to go make lunch for some dude at the. Hopefully he shows up, because sometimes these homeless guys can be pretty unreliable. They're like, "I'll be
Yeah,
here at noon," and then I'm there with a sandwich in my hand. I'm like, "All right, I'm eating the sandwich then."
and yeah, they're totally off grid, no cell phone, nothing like that.
They have no cell phone. They have no way to connect. Yeah. So, oh yeah, I asked them. I said, "How come there's not more homeless people in Santa Barbara?" And the lady was like, "Well, they drink themselves to death." And I'm like, "I don't know. You got to drink a lot to kill yourself." So,
Somebody said they
um,
drink themselves to death.
yeah, she's like, "Oh, they're all just no, like no. If you compare Santa Barbara to Venice Beach, you been to Venice, Ralph?
Nah, man.
They have like tents. I don't know if they still, if they maybe took them out, but
Yeah.
they had like tent cities, by the beach. They had primo real estate. They don't allow that at all in Santa Barbara. There was a time where they did set up some tents, and then people complained and they took them down. But you have to, by law, have a shelter for them to go to. Otherwise, you're just making homelessness illegal. So, but there's a few homeless around here that I'm like, I talk to them and I'm like, "Is anybody helping you?" And they're like, "No." And I'm like, "Has anybody harassed you?" And they don't say anything. So,
Oh,
um, yeah, I'm just surprised. Like, if I'm homeless, I'm going to live on the beach in Santa Barbara, right? Like, the weather is beautiful here. Like, pick a place. Pick a place that has the best weather. Santa Barbara is known for its really good weather. I
yeah,
sure as hell ain't gonna move to Houston and live under the
dude. Nah.
the freeway.
Some people, when I went back there, just had the same clothes on as when we went
Mm.
the very first time. I
Oh
went back
damn!
like a week or two
Uh,
later. A couple dudes had the same clothes on, just like,
you can
and he was,
recognize them pretty easy.
yeah, he's like, I got diabetes, man. I need food, but It's rough in Houston. They're very uncomfortable.
Yeah. Ready?
On my side, I've been working on the Stripe integration. I'm testing the webhooks now. So yeah, it doesn't look hard. So I will
Way
probably
easier than Plaid,
finish.
right?
Yeah, way easier.
I've
I
done
should
Stripe
finish.
integration like 3-4 times. It's super simple.
Yeah, and you can like even set up like different subscription or monthly subscriptions. Yeah.
Yeah,
Super
so it's all built
straightforward.
out. So maybe, like I said, we're going to keep the code for Plaid around.
Yeah.
I'm not going to pay them anything because it doesn't work. Right? When I try to use it in production, no bank was going through. So they're not fulfilling their side of the bargain. So until their stuff works, we'll just use Stripe. Only reason I didn't want to use Stripe was they do take a higher percentage for each transaction, but that's not a problem that we have right now.
Yeah.
So maybe in the future we might switch over. All right, cool. I'm glad to hear you got a lot of progress going on with Stripe. My end, yeah, just this damn book, you know. I'm gonna fix the cover, the front cover and the back cover, get rid of the extra pink that's showing up, and then wait for the book to come, look through it, make sure that it looks good, then I'll actually publish it. And then we'll, you know, just share it with folks. It's like kind of like the official book of the charity, right? So, you know, we're trying to help kids, then kids help other people, you know, help society. I did watch. I want to share this video. So, this is a super sad video, so I'm just gonna say that up front. There's a movie coming out called The Sound of Freedom that I want to check out when it does come out. So let me share my screen. TikTok.
How much creative license was taken with this script?
Amazing.
And the reason I'm asking you, because the story is almost so bizarre, you go, they must have made a lot of this up.
Yeah, no, I'll tell you what. Every bad guy is real. In fact, the movie was cut because it was too long. And remember, we talked about they had cards at the end telling you every bad guy is real, every kid is real, and it told you where they are today. So they had to cut it. It hurt, but you know, they bring a couple things together. It didn't happen that fast, of course. Some things are definitely overreported. He makes me look way cooler than I am. I promise. But some things are underreported. Like we didn't rescue 54 kids on that island operation. We rescued over 120. There's a documentary coming out called Triple Take, which tells everything that happened on that island. So
there's a statistic at the end of the film that comes up that the first time I saw it, I had no idea it was at that level. Again, it's 152 million. Billion with a B.
152 billion. That's what those traffickers make.
You know, the film shines a spotlight on, and you just said that, Tim, about on this industry that we all kind of had an understanding of, that this was out there, more so recently, but we have this, and I say we, I'm thinking most Americans, and I know we have other countries watching, and it may be this way for you too, but most people believe, oh yeah, you know, it's horrible what they're doing over there in South America and what they're doing in Colombia. The reality of it being in America is something that it's been so far undercover that most of us had no idea it was at that level.
But U.S. is the #1 consumer of child sex in the world.
So did you get that? That was the hard part that I was stunned by. The United States is the #1 consumer
of child sex. And Mexico is the #1 provider. When did you started this gathering? An hour ago?
Yeah.
Okay, an hour ago.
Almost.
In Mexico, 6 children disappear. We started this gathering. In 20 more minutes, one more, and then 20 more minutes, one more, and then one more, and then one more. 57 a day, 21,000 a year. Those are the official numbers. I think it's more than that. And my hope as a filmmaker is that when people see this movie, they will leave the theater not only entertained, they will leave the theater wanting to do something, asking the same question, God, what can I do to end this? Enough is enough. I want to do something for these children, because God's children are not for sale.
But as I'm watching the film, I'm wondering, so the government agencies that you've worked with and others, are they just so, is it just so big a problem there's not enough people? Is that the reason this isn't, they're not getting more progress?
It's not a priority for some reason, and there's
Okay,
about
wait a minute.
5.
It's not a priority.
It's
You're
not
going to
that-
have to
it's-
break that down. a
Right,
little bit.
I will.
Okay.
So there's last I checked, the numbers are roughly about 5 anti-drug agents in the United States for every 1 anti-child trafficking exploitation
Wow.
investigator. It's crazy. Look what's happening right now at our southern border. I was 10 years on that border. I mean, 85,000 unaccompanied minors just in the last year or two that show up. Thousands are 5 years old or younger. What are they doing? The economics of this whole thing tells us we are the #1 demand for child sexual exploitation material in the world. Thousands, tens and tens of thousands of kids are coming and disappearing. Let me tell you how it works if you don't know. They kidnap a kid in Central America or wherever, and they just little safety pin a name, the sponsor, put the name in the pocket. The 5-year-old shows up, the 10-year-old, whatever, and Health and Human Services has to take the kid, call the number, and your taxpayer dollars will then pay for the final leg of that trafficking experience when the kid put on a bus, on a plane, and taken to whoever's name is on there. And these kids, these poor children who are coming into our country because we won't enforce. If we enforced, they wouldn't be incentivized to come. But because there's no incentive to do anything but come, I mean, these traffickers are making $14 million a day. These kids, our policies are facilitating and even paying for child trafficking right here at home. This is why we need to get loud now, and I think God saved this movie to come out right now while things are popping, right? Don't you think that?
I asked Tim Ballard, who do you want to play you? And he said, Jim Caviezel. So I called Tim and I said, Tim, I have a good news and a bad news. Good news, Jim is in. The bad news, what I thought was the bad news, you see the story. I think his wife saw Narcos Colombia on Netflix, and she doesn't want him to go there. She's not comfortable him going to Colombia film this movie. So what can we do? And he said, let me think about it. Tell them if 30 ex-Navy SEALs will be enough to protect him. How many? 30 ex-Navy SEALs. Okay. So I passed the message. Done. So we're in Colombia filming, right? 3 weeks later, after filming the movie, half of them are not on the set. And I don't want to tell Jim anything, but I know, as a producer, I know who is on set. So it's 200 people on set, and I noticed that half of those guys were not on set. So I didn't ask Tim anything, so I pretend like nothing happened. And month and a half later, I'm reading a local newspaper that it says 23 traffickers were arrested, 200 children were rescued from, they were kidnapped for sexual exploitation for this tourism in Cartagena. I run to see Tim. He said, brother, this is like the movie. And he smiles and he said, that was us. On set, while we were filming this movie, 200 children were saved, were rescued in Cartagena, Colombia. So God bless you, brother. God bless your wife.
There's a cap on how well, right now we're ahead quite a bit.
So it's, the number was $150 billion. That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
You wouldn't think that would be easy to track that kind of money? Like, they're just doing all cash?
Dude,
No paper trail?
that's just more proof of what he said. It's not a priority.
No, if anything, like it's sponsored. The
Yeah.
government's sponsoring it. Like, all right, let's just let this through.
It's like a big industry, apparently.
Yeah, so this movie's
Yeah.
coming out, the Sound of Freedom, early next month, which details like saving kids that are in the system. So just check it out to see what's going on in this world. And apparently, the most corrupt country in the planet when it comes to children is America.
Man. When's the movie
All
come
right.
out?
It comes out. Let me see here. The Sound of Freedom. It's actually gonna be here in Santa Barbara, July 3rd, Monday. So
Okay.
yeah, I'm
Oh,
gonna check it
that's great.
out. Yeah. So hopefully it ends on a good note. Well, it's not a good note because there's still the industry's still pumping kids every 20 minutes. One kid
Yeah.
or more gets kidnapped and gets brought into the system. And the other video that we had watched, Fede, that talked about once a kid's in the system, they have a lifespan about 2 years because they only take so much abuse. Then they, either they get killed or they die.
Yeah.
So, but if
That's why.
if the American population knew of this, the thing is, like, the media does not cover this.
Nah.
I'm surprised they're able to get this movie out, and they're going to show it in Santa Barbara. So maybe people see it, they'll get upset, they'll talk to the powers that be to actually do something about it, as opposed to just sitting on our hands and letting this atrocity happen. More slaves today worldwide than there ever been ever.
In history.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
pretty crazy. I think that was, one down note. Don't write children's books, unless you're just doing it for the joy and the fun and the creative process. Don't do it for money. And then go watch that movie to see, the horrific things that are happening in America and worldwide. All right, guys.
All right.
And don't forget to
Guys.
like, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Follow the journey.